lesson 2.4. Today we're going to be adding integers. So remember, integers are positive numbers, negative numbers, and zeros. So we're going to learn a few rules that we need to in order to add positive and negative numbers and things like that. But the first word I want you guys to write down in your notes is the vocab word opposites / additive inverse. So both of those terms mean the same thing. So opposites and additive inverses. So that is like when you have 5 and negative 5. So it's a number and it's negative. 2 and negative 2. 1, negative 1. 100, negative 100. Basically, those two numbers are going to add up to be 0. So that's just something that you need to kind of keep in your mind. But let's go ahead and look at our rules for adding integers. Our first rule is that if you're adding a negative plus a negative, your answer is going to be negative. So just how when you add a positive plus positive, your answer is going to be positive, it's the same way with negatives. So, for example, if you add a negative 2 plus negative 4, you're going to get negative 6. So you just go ahead and add the numbers and then keep your sign. Now, what does it look like on a number line when this is happening? Because it's kind of hard to picture in our head subtracting negatives and things like that and adding negative stuff like that. So let's go ahead and picture it on the graph. So negative 2, so I'm going to start at negative 2 right here. And I'm going to add a negative 4 or take 4 away. So I'm going to go ahead and go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And you will see why my answer is negative 6. Because if I'm adding a negative number, it's the same as subtracting a number, so I need to move to the left of the number line. So I'm moving 4 spaces to the left of negative 2, and I will end on negative 6. Okay, so if you're adding a negative plus a negative, your answer is going to be negative. Alright, now when you're adding a negative plus a positive, we have two different scenarios here. So if you're adding a negative plus a positive numbers, what are our two scenarios? Our first scenario is if you're taking away less than what you have, your answer is going to be positive. Now, when you see the word take away, you're thinking, well, doesn't that mean subtract? And it does, but also when you're adding a negative, it's the same action as if you're subtracting. So, if you're taking away less than what you have, your answer is going to be positive. What do I mean by that? Let's look at an example. So if you have 5 plus negative 2, you're going to be left with the answer of a positive 3. Now, why is that so? Let's go ahead and look at the number line. So let's go ahead and start at positive 5. Okay, so here we are, positive 5. Now we're going to add a negative 2 or take 2 away. So we're going to go ahead and go over 1, 2 to the left, because anytime we're adding a negative, it's the same as subtracting, so we're going to the left of the number line. We go 2 to the left, and our answer is going to be positive 3. Alright, the next scenario is if you take away more than what you have. Your answer is going to be negative. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's look at this example. If I do 2 plus a negative 5, we're going to get a negative 3. Now, let's think about it. If we're taking away more than what we have, let's say that I only have $2, but I go ahead and buy something that's worth $5. I give him my $2, but I still have to pay $3, so I still owe $3. So that's kind of the mindset behind taking away more than what you have. Let's go ahead and look what it looks like on a number line. Let's go ahead and start at 2 on the number line, so I have a dot at 2, and I'm going to add a negative 5, or taking away 5. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, which is where I am at 0, 3, 4, 5. So my answer is going to be negative 3. Alright, so our three scenarios, make sure you have them in your notes. We have a negative plus a negative gives us a negative. We have, if we are adding, or if we're taking away less than what we have, it's going to be positive. So if I have $5 and I need to give you $2, I'll still have money left, right? And then if you take away more than what you have, you're going to have a negative amount left. So if I have $2 and I owe $5, then I'm going to be in the hole negative $3. Let's go ahead and do a few more examples. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 1. Example number 1 says negative 5 plus negative 7. Now, if you remember what we just talked about, we're adding two negatives. So a negative plus a negative gives us what type of solution? It gives us a negative answer. So I know it's going to be negative something. Now, what is it going to be? Let's go ahead and add 7 plus 5, and that's going to give us 12. So we have negative 12 as our answer. Okay, let's go ahead and look at number 2. We have negative 10 plus negative 4. Now we have a negative answer plus a negative answer. So what kind of solution are we going to have? Okay, we're going to have a negative solution. Negative plus negative always gives us a negative solution. So then we're going to go ahead and just add our integers up. So 10 plus 4 gives us 14. So our answer is going to be a negative 14. All right, next one we have negative 14 plus negative 16. What is our answer going to be, positive or negative? If we're adding a negative plus a negative, our answer is going to be negative. Now, since we already know our answer is negative, we're going to go ahead and add them up. So 14 plus 16 is going to give us 30. So our answer is going to be negative 30. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 4. We have 6 plus a negative 7. Now, if we look at this, we have a positive plus a negative, so we need to think about our two scenarios. Are we taking away more than what we have, or are we taking away less than what we have? So let me see. If I had $6 and I owe $7, I'm still going to be $1 short, right? So I'm going to be a negative 1. Because then we would just subtract 7 minus 6, which would give us 1, and then we would plug in our negative symbol since we're taking away more than what we have. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 5. If we have a negative 15 plus 19. Now, we got to think about it, our rules. We're adding a negative plus a positive. So that means we're going to have to think about the two different scenarios. Now, are we taking away more than what we have, or are we taking away less than what we have? Well, if I had $19 and I'm taking away 15, I'm still going to have money left over, right? How much money am I going to have left over? I'm going to have $4 left. So we just subtract 19 minus 15 and we get 4. And it's going to be positive because we're taking away less than what we have. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 6. We have negative 14 plus negative 6 plus 6. Okay, we have 3 different numbers now. So that means we're going to have to take it away one at a time. Now, since we're adding, our adding is commutative or associative, so we can group them any way we want. We can flip them around any way we want. As long as we add them all together, we're good. All right. The one thing that I'm noticing right now is that I want you to learn how to notice is that I see an additive inverse, or I see an opposite, however you want to call it. It was the first vocab term we just talked about. If you're adding, let's say, 1 plus negative 1, 2 plus negative 2, 100 plus negative 100, your answer is always going to be 0. So right now, I see that negative 6 plus 6, that's going to give me 0, right? It's going to make my adding a whole lot easier. So if I go ahead and add negative 6 plus 6 and I get 0, since I can do it in any order I want because of the commutative property, now I'm going to go ahead and add our negative 14. Now if we start at 0 and we take away 14, we're going to end up at negative 14, right? Because any time that we add a 0, and we're just going to get the same number again, right? That is the additive identity property of 0. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 7. This one's a word problem, so we're going to have to be able to come up with the equation, and we're going to have to solve it. So we're going to have to do 2 different things for this one. Okay, let's read it together. The temperature is negative 3 degrees. An hour later, it drops to 6 degrees. And then, 2 hours later, it rises 4 degrees. So write an addition sentence and solve. So let's go ahead and look at our numbers. Well, first we start at a negative 3, right? So we're going to start at negative 3. Now, where are we going to go from negative 3? Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? What's going to happen? Okay, an hour later, it drops. So drops means that we're going to be going negative amount, right? So drops 6 degrees. So we're going to add a negative 6 degrees because we're going down even more. Then 2 hours later, it rises 4 degrees. So rises is a positive thing, right? So it's going to be a positive number. We're going to do plus 4. All right, now we have our 3 integers written out here. Now we're going to have to go ahead and solve it. We can take it in any order that we want because it's commutative and associative, so no matter how we group it or how we add it, we're going to get the same answer. So let's just go ahead and go from left to right. So let's start with negative 3 plus negative 7. Now, if you remember our rules, if we're adding a negative plus negative, our answer is going to be negative. So what's 3 plus 6? It is 9. So we have a negative 9, now plus 4. All Alright, now we're adding a negative plus a positive, so we got to think of our two scenarios. Are we taking away more than what we have, or are we taking away less than what we have? Because that's going to determine whether our solution is going to be positive or negative. Alright, so I'm looking at here, I have a negative 9 and a 4. Now if I had $4 and I take 9 away, I'm going to be in the negative amounts, right? Because I'm taking away more than what I have. So we know that our answer is going to be negative. So we just go ahead and subtract 9 minus 4 and we'll have 5. And we know our answer is negative because we're taking away more than what we have. So our answer is going to be negative 5. Alright, we are going to do a few practice problems on your own. I'll show you them in a second. Make sure you have all your notes completed. Make sure you've watched how to do these examples. If you need to, go ahead and rewind it, watch it again, as many times as you need to get it. Bring your questions in tomorrow and we'll answer those for you. Let's do a few practice problems on your own.
Alright, you have 5 problems to do tonight. Let's see if you can solve them and get them correct for tomorrow. If you have any questions, please don't forget to bring them in, or you can go back through your book and look at some of those examples that are already done for you if you need a few more to see if you can figure it out. Alright, number 1 is negative 6 plus negative 8. Number 2 is negative 3 plus 10. Number 3 is negative 15 plus 8. Number 4 is 15 plus 9 plus negative 9. And then number 5 is negative 17 plus 20 plus negative 3. Alright, good luck.